Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and if everything goes according to plan, Blender 4.3 should be available for download right now, or very, very soon. Today is the day it was scheduled to ship, and what I'm going to do is cheat a little bit. As you can see, I am using the release candidate version here. What I'm going to do is demonstrate some of the coolest new features in Blender 4.3, and quite frankly, there are some very nice new features. So let's just jump right in. Of course, we will start things off with a sacrifice. Goodbye, Cube. I hardly knew you. Okay, the first thing we've got going on is probably my favorite small new feature, and it's a UI tweak. So when you move around windows right now in Blender, the process can be a little bit confusing. So you see here, dragging it off, there it goes. But now what you've got is these previews that will actually show you how your window will split. And you can actually drag it between various different windows and get the result accordingly. But this actually goes one step further. And what you can now do is, let's go ahead and minimize this window. And now what I can do is actually take a window like this and literally drag it out, and we will spawn a new window like so. That is some really neat new functionality. Again, it's just in the way that Blender works. You're also going to notice if you come back to a split window like this one right here, you can also now right click and pick which way to split. So you can say vertical split, horizontal split, like so, or you could say join up, join down, however. So you got better determination of how windows are going to split. I also think they made the area in which the split will work a little bit bigger as well. But this new preview makes splitting windows so much easier to work with, and the ability to split them out to a standalone window by just dragging them off for multi-monitor support, that is just lovely. Moving on to awesome thing number 2, and of course we do require a sacrifice, so default cube, goodbye. All right, what we're going to do now is create a grease pencil. Grease pencil got a ton of love in this release. This is Grease Pencil 3. Basically, you can think of it as a complete rewrite, and we're going to switch over here into drawing mode, and you're immediately going to notice this new tray. This is using the library system for storing all of the brushes. All of your brushes are available down here. We're going to see the tray again in a little bit when we talked about the new sculpting features, but this is just lovely. So you can filter down to just the brushes and the erasers, etc. that you need. The underlying engine has been completely rewritten, and let's go ahead and just draw this right here. We've got new things such as layering groups. We've got a new gradient tool, but one of the coolest new things is the eraser tool. So go ahead and select it. And again, this new UI for selecting things, especially when it can be customized and sorted down and searched and so on, lovely. So what I can do, come in here, and I can basically start erasing from our grease pencil. And the way that it used to work is this would actually erase the geometry. This is instead erasing the gaps. So I come down here and go, oops, over here and go into edit mode, and you're going to see what erase is actually doing. So it's actually leaving the geometry in place and telling it, okay, this is an empty space. So it's going to make it easier to edit these things after the fact once you've used the eraser. Neat new functionality there. Now, another really big thing that's happened with Grease Pencil is down over here. You're going to notice geometry nodes. So you can now actually use geometry nodes with Grease Pencil. So you've got the output over here. Very simple. So input, output, and then various different options can be done, handling for curves, points, and so on. And you can actually now manipulate your grease pencil objects using geometry nodes. This is going to open up a whole new level of tooling options for people doing 2D work. The stuff that people can do with geometry nodes is actually kind of mind-blowing. All right, on to the next cube sacrifice, which means the next exciting new feature. And I mentioned earlier on, it's about sculpting. It's kind of going down to the same thing that we saw with the grease pencil. I'm going to go ahead here, sacrifice the default cube, and we'll go ahead and create a monkey. All right, here's our monkey. Let's go here and let's do just a quick subdivide twice. So we got something to work with right here. So here is our monkey that we can go ahead and sculpt with. And we'll go ahead down here, and you're going to notice when I go into sculpting mode, we have this again, this new dock here, and this is just lovely. All of your brushes are down here, so if you want to go ahead and draw sharp, it's available right there, and so on. All your brushes are available using this new system. It is so much cleaner and nicer to work with. Once again, you can filter down, decide exactly what you want to show over here, create your own groups. Of course, you could do just here the adding and subtract, or the painting brushes, or you can do all. Again, you can create your own brushes if you wish to do so. You also have the ability to come down here and search. So for example, I could search for grab, such as Grab 2D, which is one of the new brushes that was also added in this sculpting. It grabs along a 2D axis. On top of that, we also got Grab Silhouette. We got Crease Sharp, Electric Snake Hook, pull, plateau, trim, relax. A whole bunch of new brushes were added. We also have some new brushes when it comes to sculpting of cloth as well. But the big new thing here, of course, is this new searchable, sortable, configurable dock of all of the brushes that are available. Speaking of brushes, both from Grease Pencil and here, this is all organized using the new library system. So I come down here and I go over to the asset browser. All of our brushes are available here. So you can see you can drill down accordingly, come in. So there's the Grease Pencil stuff or mesh sculpting. It's all available here. So if you create your own or you bring them in, they will work with the same system and work accordingly. This is a lovely step forward in my humble opinion. I definitely like this new feature. Alrighty, time to sacrifice yet another cube to show you one more very cool feature. So goodbye cube. Now we're going to bring back a monkey. So add in mesh, our monkey like so. And we're just going to take this guy, move over to edge mode. We're going to grab this loop right here, like so. And we're just going to mark that as a seam. So, oops. Mark seam. All right. So that is our very simple unwrap. Not the smartest unwrap you've ever seen, but it'll work for our purposes. So go over here, UV editor, and let's grab this guy right here, UV unwrap, and boom. Angle base. So there you can see the results of our unwrap. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to apply a subdivision surface modifier to this guy, level 2. All right, so here is our surface like so. What we're going to need to do is apply a texture to understand what is going on here. So we got a new, let's go to a shader editor. We'll go out of edit mode, switch on over here, apply a new material to this fella right there, and we're going to go ahead and add a new texture of type image. We create a new one, and we are going to make it a UV grid. All right, and then we're just going to, so up here, bang, UV grid. Remember to click the new button this time, drag it down into our base color like so. So here is our textured object. So look at the ear and the way the ear works, all right? So I'm gonna take the same object over here and switch over to edit mode. And instead what we're gonna do is UV unwrap. You're gonna notice now there is this new option here called minimum stretch. And you're gonna see right away the change. So see how the ear textured out there? So again, the old version, so angle based, like so. There you can see what it did. And there's this new, it's called a slim algorithm, this new unwrapping mechanism here. Again, you unwrap and it is called minimum stretch. There's also conformal. You can see the results of conformal, kind of moving in the same level. Once again, look at what happens over here. And then finally, we use this new unwrapping mechanism, unwrap minimum stretch, and it's going to just basically try to stretch the UVs as little as possible on the surface, and that is your end result. So over here, this is what your minimum stretch ends up looking like. And let's go back over here, and we'll look at the angle base. So there is what angle base looks like instead. So this new slim algorithm-based minimum stretch, probably what you're going to use in the majority of cases, and it just it applies to the surface with the minimum amount of stretching possibly. So it's nicely named, definitely a lovely new feature in Blender 4.3. Now, the final demonstration we got here, this doesn't actually require sacrificing a default cube, but I'm going to do it anyways. So goodbye cube. All right, so what we're going to do is go up here, edit, and then preferences. And the first thing you're going to have to do is turn on experimental features. So developer extra, turn that on right there. Once you do that, when you head into system, you're going to notice our lovely new feature. There is a category here called display settings. Again, if this isn't turned on, that isn't there. But once you turn this guy on, it will show up and basically go to system. And what you're going to notice is you now have Vulcan experimental support. Now this is actually going to be slower out of the box, and some certain things are not supported as of yet. But if you want to test out what Vulcan works like on a back end, this is going to be like the future rendering tech of Blender going forward. Well, with the release of 4.3, it is now there in experimental format. So ladies and gentlemen, that's just scraping the surface. There's a ton more in this release, but those are 5 of what I think are the coolest new features in Blender 4.3. If you checked it out yourself and you have another favorite, let me know in the comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.